everything, and a bunch more words. You'll be amazed how many there are on this list. Now this is giving you, so here's the indefinite pronouns. Here, this is the kind of the list we looked at. This is giving you on the side here, and like you said, you can look up any grammar website and it will give you some kind of rule, but you'll find that a lot of them are different. This is saying these are always singular, these are always plural, and that these, see this over here, can be either one. Okay. Now, the rule that the, so right away, here's an exception. Some people say that none shall always take a singular word. So what you guys are doing is, I'm going by the English Center, understanding that your teacher wants you to treat all of these words, none, neither, each, none, and everybody, as singular. Okay? So what happens is, even though you have these things, okay, that one's okay. Students, rooms, tables, chart, and graphics, and sale items in the sentence. Once you start a sentence with an indefinite pronoun, that's going to control the verb. Okay, so you can fix these by just taking this out and saying the students on the scholarship list do not have. You could do it that way if you just wanted to get rid of it. But I was looking to see if you could match this verb with this singular pronoun. And to do that, you have to kind of think in terms of not one. So what should this be? Has. None of the students has. And that sounds weird to us, right? Because we want to say students have. But once you start with this, that's controlling this. Okay, same thing here. Neither one has. Don't change this to neither one, because I'm just saying that's what it means. Okay? Or you could change it and say the available rooms do not have. Then your subject is rooms. But the way this is, these are controlling the subject and verb for the sentence. And here you have, okay, here now you're saying, but I thought we just said up here that if you had an and, then it's plural. Okay? But, again, you're saying each one of these. So what does this have to be? Each one of these needs. Okay, so we're in this third person singular. Not one of the sale items is. Okay, like I said, most people either got 100% on this or totally just, some people just left it blank because it's really confusing. And this, and now this is where we got, some people changed tense on this. Okay, that didn't work either. Every one body, what does this mean? Was. Yeah, if you change this to is, that doesn't work because then you're changing the tense. They aren't having fun now, they had it in the past. Okay, so again, the main point here is that when I'm correcting a paper, somebody in the English Center is correcting a paper, Microsoft Word, this is what really confuses students, is they're doing something like this and Microsoft Word will catch most of these. And they say, what does it mean, subject verb? That doesn't make any sense. That's what's going on. Yes?
On number 3.
What?
On number 3.
Yeah.
Instead of
this number?
Yeah. Why would needed work?
Because this is an indefinite pronoun, and indefinite pronouns are treated as singular.
Okay.
So you have to have them in that third person singular box. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so go ahead and turn those back in, and then you will get a graduate on them. And on Thursday, we are going to move on to, well, we're not going to move on, that's the thing, a little bit different from what I've been doing for several semesters. Keep in mind, you're not going to be able to leave those behind. On Thursday, whoops, our grammar lesson is going to be a review. So you're going to have to go over all this stuff again. Standard English, spelling, and subject verb agreement. One good thing is that when I give those review quizzes, you can use your old, you can get your old quizzes out, get your notes out, and all that kind of stuff. Okay? So we will look at that again. Okay. Now, we need to move on. This is the day when we're making a big, theoretically, I know for some of you it isn't a big jump. Shh. Joanna and Danielle, I keep hearing voices over there, so you guys need to be quiet. Remember at the beginning of the semester, and for these 2 papers you just turned in, I said that I wanted everybody to have the same, and plus what you've been doing in the English Center, I wanted everybody to have the same knowledge of what a paragraph contains, okay? And I think that having done those 2 papers, you guys all have the basic idea that a paragraph contains, right, a topic sentence that contains whatever you want to call it. I call it an argument, as we've discussed several times. Your book calls it a number of things. It calls it a dominant impression, it calls it the point of the story, and in the chapter we're going into right now, it calls it a controlling idea, okay? So your topic sentence has some kind of argument. Then you have supporting details, which are dependent on the writing mode that you are using. And I hope that's another thing you guys have grasped from doing these 2 papers. If you're writing a description, if you're asked to write a descriptive paper, your supporting details need to describe. If you're asked to write a narrative paper, your supporting details need to be the small events of that narrative, right? So these are going to depend, whatever your supporting details are going to depend on the type of paragraph you're writing, okay? Then some paragraphs have a concluding sentence, not all. If you're narrating something and you feel that your narrative supports your argument, you don't need one. We saw in Sandra's paper, she used that final sentence to kind of give the idea of what's going on, okay? This can be optional. Okay, now the way I teach this, the title of your book, and like I say, the titles of these books are a real good kind of a summary of what's going on. When I teach 321, the class before this, which I usually don't do, but when I do, I use the companion book to this that is called Sentences to Paragraphs. So in that class, we're really working on complete sentences, which I just very quickly read, and then building a paragraph. So when you come out of my 321 class, you are able to do this. So I had you guys do those first 2 papers just to make sure everyone's on the same page, because not everybody took my 321 class, okay? Now we're going to explode a paragraph into an essay, okay? And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take, as you can see, this has already 3 parts. And most of you, I find that most people, if you haven't actually written an essay, you have some idea of how this works, because it's pretty simple, actually. The concept's pretty simple. I'm not saying writing an essay is simple, the concept is. is going to become what in an essay? Anybody know? Your introduction, okay? So this is going to become your intro paragraph, okay? And the way I teach this, at the beginning, your introductory paragraphs are going to be pretty short because I'm so interested in the fact that you are bringing this argument over here, that I keep those pretty short to focus on that argument. And what is an argument called in the introductory paragraph of an essay? We're going to continue to have topic sentences for our paragraph, but what's the sentence that introduces everything? You guys remember? Yes, I'm hearing people say it, okay? I'm looking for my copy of the homework, which is hard to find. Okay, so this is what you did for homework that we're going to go over today, okay? Thesis statement. You'll hear it called by different names, but we are going to call it a thesis statement. And just like in the paragraph, that thesis statement has to contain your argument. Okay? Then I am going to move you very quickly to not just an essay, but a 5-paragraph essay. Some teachers start with a 3-paragraph essay, but I put you right into the 5-paragraph one, okay? So now these supporting details are going to be opened up into 3, and don't worry, at this point, this doesn't need to be really long, okay? I'm more interested in the organization than I am in the length. Okay, they're going to get longer as we go. What is this part of an essay called?
The body.
See, like I said, I know most people already know this. Then, now the difference between this being optional here, in an essay, a conclusion is always required. So it's no longer optional. And obviously, the last paragraph of the essay is called the conclusion. Okay, so this is the intro, the body, and the conclusion. Okay, now what your homework was about was, so you notice that I had here for a 5-paragraph essay, okay? Again, your book has these strange things that it calls it. I call it an argument, they call it an attitude and a controlling idea. I don't really like that word attitude. We'll talk about why I don't like it. So what I'm going to ask you to do from now on, and this is one of the reasons I had you guys put all those topic sentences up on the board the other day, because we're going to keep doing that kind of thing. I really want you to focus on what's now going to be called your argumentative thesis statement. And this is not what your book calls it, it's what I call it. Your argumentative thesis statement with a 3-part essay map. Has anyone ever heard that term before, essay map? A 3-part essay map.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you guess what that is? It's a map to the rest of your essay. So what we're going to do is, if we were writing, I'll just take one for a short one for example. If you were using this as a thesis statement to your essay, a successful career often hinges on hard work, dedication, and intelligence. What is the, and these all still need topic sentences, right? what's the topic sentence of this paragraph gonna be about? This is gonna be about hard work. This is gonna be about dedication, and this is gonna be about intelligence, okay? So each one of these is gonna support your argument that that thing is what you need for a successful career. It's almost like a math formula, A equals B equals C. It's pretty basic. I mean, it's pretty simple to understand how that works. So as you can see, the trick is going to be, in writing your essays, coming up with a good one of these. Because once you get that 3-part essay map, once you're able to say, here's what I think, here's what I want to talk about, and here are 3 things that are going to prove that, your paper's going to just flow, right? And like we said, when you get to writing a 10-page paper or a 20-page paper, a lot of students say, oh my God, I can't write a 20-page paper. Well, guess what? Then you go into a thesis statement, something like this, where you've got a lot to talk about here. You've got these 3 things, and you've got these 3 things. So you've got a lot to talk about with each one of those paragraphs. In fact, this one would probably end up being more like a 10-page paper. I wouldn't expect you to have this one in this class. Okay, that's a lot of information. Okay, so that's my very brief introduction to an essay. Let's take a break until 11:15, and then we need to look at this homework and then look at the example essay you're going to do next. Okay, I'm going to hand out the homework for that. So come back at 11:15.